because I have not seen a high-profile athlete on any team in this town embrace being a Chicagoan, especially at the Bears quarterback spot like Caleb Williams is, taking batting practice with the Cubs while it was raining. He's in underneath at the tunnel. He's at Old Crow. He's there while they're chanting Green Bay sucks and MVP. Like, he shows up at DJ Moore's camp yesterday at Deerfield High School. Like, this dude's all in about being a good teammate and a Chicagoan, right?
The first thing I thought when I saw the Old Crow video, I think they were playing Dreams and Nightmares in the background, and he's like, like pantomiming as he's, having fun with it and everybody's singing, is, wow, this guy's going to be great on Hard Knocks. Like, if he had any questions about how he's going to handle the attention or the added spotlight, like, look no further. And it's different because think about the last couple of quarterbacks who have been in this position. I mean, Mitch's personality, it was not this. And I'm not trying to, slight the guy at all, but I don't think that you were anywhere close to this with Justin, with Mitch, with any of the quarterbacks who were kind of in that bridge phase with the Bears the last couple of years. And for Caleb Williams to embrace it, it kind of reminds me of how we feel about Shota Imanaga. Like, I love somebody who shows personality. Fans love people who show personality. The Cubs needed that with their pitching staff, and I think the Bears absolutely need that with their quarterback. When you have this high of expectations on you, as Caleb does, to be the first franchise quarterback that's been drafted and developed in more than 7 decades by this team, you can't let that alone is going to be something that, takes a lot of time, but the expectations of that can also cause you to shut down and to not show personality and to kind of, hide behind or rather just kind of go into your shell. He's doing the complete opposite of that, which, of course, there will be the skeptics out there who say, yeah, I wonder if he's acting like this when they win games. But to see it now, to see him embrace a place that's clearly embracing him, I think is a good thing for everybody involved.
Well, it's easy to do now when everything is positive and the city is embracing you so much.
Sure.
When things go negative, and I say when because it's the NFL, it doesn't feel like an if. You're a rookie quarterback, there will be bad games. Is it good to see him embrace it now, and you expect that he'll be able to take the heat when things turn the other way?
You'd hope so. And, so often, the analogy I always use with so many of these football guys is that you cut their head open and there's a giant, instead of where their brain is, it's a giant football. And a lot of these people have no personality and they're unrelatable and they feel untouchable in a lot of ways. And they're boring, frankly.
Yeah.
Of course, you want somebody like Caleb Williams who is clearly a showman and he enjoys it. That's not a negative term by any stretch. When it's somebody who knows how to deal with the spotlight. And I mean, I keep referring to Hard Knocks, but that whole idea that the added attention on somebody can be a distraction, very clearly he's dealt with that for the better part of the last 3-4 years as he went from a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback to number 1 overall pick in the draft. And yeah, he was insulated by USC. They wouldn't let him talk a lot of times, but that was a decision of the head coach, not of the quarterback. To watch, he's going to have to face the music if there's bad games, and people want to see someone stay consistent throughout all of that. If you're hyping the crowd up at a bar in Wrigleyville in June, they're hoping that you have that same energy, whether you're on a 3-game win streak or 3-game losing streak this season. So I think it's a good thing because so often people have this expectation of rookies that you have to kind of earn your keep and you have to go through it for a couple of months, maybe even a year before you can truly show your personality. No, there's no question that he's the leader of this team. He is the face of this franchise. And I think there's a line. You don't want to overdo it, and certainly you don't want to get in trouble. You don't want to put yourself in a compromising situation. But he's 22 years old in a city that hasn't had a franchise quarterback that was drafted and developed since Sid Luckman. Let him have some fun when it's a quieter part of the schedule. And then when it's time to get to work, let him get to work. And you hope that he will continue to show this personality and not look like a robot like so many quarterbacks have been unfortunately conditioned to be, because that's how they deal with, the expectations surrounding them best.
So I kept hearing, we all did, oh my God, this locker room's going to revolt. DJ Moore is going to hate Caleb Williams because his guy is Justin Fields, and the crowd is chanting with the snow coming down, we want Fields. All I know is that one of my best friends in the world, he took his son to DJ Moore's camp yesterday, and it's at Deerfield High School. There's no announcement. There's no media there. There's no, hey, make sure you got a camera when he gets out of his car. Nope. He was out Saturday night at the Cubs game. He got his ass up on Sunday morning on a day off and was there throwing passes to the kids and high-fiving kids and taking pictures. There's Caleb Williams at DJ Moore's camp. I guess the locker room's in a good place.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not faulting Poles or like anybody in the Bears. Like, you know, we knew the direction they were going to go, but you still have to keep that in consideration. Not that nobody expects to have a schism in a locker room when these guys are paid professionals who are paid to do a job in a career that doesn't last very long. So no, there was never going to be a situation where players were like, well, I don't want to play because they made a switch in quarterback. But I do think people who have high EQ in addition to IQ understand that there's that transition period for someone who was so universally loved the way that Fields was. But very quickly you saw, just in hearing from how the top 30 visit went down to, you know, seeing the initial impressions that Caleb Williams has had on his teammates, he's doing all the right things. And to show up at DJ Moore's camp, you know, I would expect that. I would expect that from the number one overall pick to, you know, if he was just a quarterback that was drafted in the 4th round and was some guy on the roster, like on the depth chart, instead of being the face of this team. That's how you build. Like, people think about building chemistry as just, you know, time on task in the reps that you get in the spring and throwing sessions, et cetera. Like, a lot of that is building the trust and building that chemistry is the outside of football stuff, hanging out, going to the Sky game with Roma Dunze and Keenan Allen earlier this offseason, going to the Cubs game with your rookie teammates, going to support your teammate in his football camp that DJ Moore hosted over the weekend. That stuff's important to, you know, build. Like, it may not seem like a big thing in the moment, but like the more you stack those instances of showing support, of building that, you know, off-field nonverbal chemistry, all of those things matter when it comes to a game in season, to the trust that you're going to have in each other. And that takes a lot of time, and it has to be genuine in the way that you build it, which clearly I think showing up at someone's football camp after that game didn't get over till 12:30 in the morning and we saw them out in Wrigleyville, like that's a sign of good faith.
I do want to, on the topic of DJ Moore, and another guy who's seemingly embraced this city and this fan base, I want to work in the breaking news from about an hour ago. Justin Jefferson resets the wide receiver market, $35 million a year, $110 million in guarantees. This now, like, I've been skeptical if it's real. It feels now like that's the second most valued position in football, Justin Jefferson, the highest paid non-quarterback in football now. Is there any kind of motivation, I guess, on the Bears' end to extend DJ Moore sooner than later? Because if this thing keeps ballooning, you might actually save money in the long run doing it now.
Well, it makes you wonder, like, what if the Vikings, and I think this was on Justin Jefferson, of why I think you and I talked about it last week, Cap, like why it waited till this point. And of course there's mandatory camp coming up where there's mandatory fines, and if he didn't want to be a hold-in, it was smart for them to get the deal done now and get it out of the way. But the receiver market keeps exploding, whether it's, you know, A.J. Brown setting the market at that point only to be, you know, trumped by Justin Jefferson nearly 2 months later. And then, of course, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jalen Waddle. Like, I don't know where the bubble is here. I don't know when it's going to burst. And there's a reason that there were all these receivers drafted in the first round, because teams see how expensive this position's getting. You pay good players. And I think that what we've heard from Ryan Poles, particularly how it came up about Keenan Allen in a contract extension, that there's some other priorities that they might have to get to first. Now, DJ Moore's contract is through 2025, so they're not necessarily in a rush to do it, but he put together a career year last year. He's in a different situation, in a different offense this year, where his numbers, if you're projecting it out, will probably be on par with 2023, if not better. He's only going to get more expensive with time. And yeah, he's 27 years old. Age is something that you factor in there too, but this next deal he's going to sign is going to be the big one. And I think for the Bears to figure out where he fits into their cap planning, certainly one of their top priorities that they need to get done within the next year. Maybe that expedites it a little bit. I don't think they're in a rush necessarily to get him done right now, knowing that they've got the flexibility and the time. But you keep that one circled, considering what the market has yielded, and also the deals that are coming up here in the coming months. CeeDee Lamb's probably looking at Justin Jefferson's contract, licking his chops right now, considering like how comparable their numbers are. Then there's the Jamar Chases of the world, who were kind of the next in line. Like, it's only going to get more expensive to keep receivers of that caliber. And I think it's fair to say I wouldn't put DJ Moore as the best receiver in the NFL. We know that that's Jefferson, but as a top 10, top 15 player, he's going to get paid like one, and rightfully so.
So they go to minicamp for 3 days, then they get like 6 weeks off, other than having to do their weightlifting and their training, but nothing on the field. I think we should treasure the moments right now where the Bears are going to have everybody there, as far as I know. I don't know if Nate Davis is healthy enough to participate, but he at least was there the other day. So is this like a rare thing that there is no contract snafu? There is no, this guy's not there for whatever reason. Like, it seems like they're all in for the season, right?
It feels that way, and I think you're right. Like, there are no contracts that are pending right now where you wonder, is somebody going to show up? Are they going to hold in, like be there and hold in because the fines are not reversible anymore? Like, I think it's honestly, they handled business with other players that they needed to make sure that this was never going to be an issue. But are guys all in? I mean, yeah, I would think that, if you have a place to be and you have no reason to not be there, and if you're not going to be there, you get fined. I mean, it makes it kind of a no-brainer that guys would show up. But it'll be good, I think, more than anything else, for the Bears to get a feel for what Caleb Williams looks like when he has the entire complement of the roster around him. It's not that it's going to look like a perfect product, but it'll give you an idea going into training camp how much further he has to go in specific areas. Yes, it's non-contact. There will not be contact practices for a while in training camp. And of course you can never hit the quarterback, but it gives you a chance to see what else they need to do with the roster in the coming months as they get ready for the season opener, and where their quarterback's comfort level is just with the overall command of everything. And you don't get a feel for that during OTAs nearly as much as you do when everyone who needs to be there is there.